All right. So my name is Manav Jethani, and today with us we have a very special guest. She has been quite a bit daring, let's say, on the social media. She has been using virtual reality to showcase her ideas and her concepts of how we can view the world. And without further ado, please welcome Žofia Babčanová.
Hi, hello everybody. Thanks for having me, Mano. I'm super happy to be here and talking with you about car design industry trends, VR and AI.
Perfect. Okay, so before we begin, Žofia, most of us here in the audience doesn't know that how closely you're related to virtual reality, to Gravity Sketch and everything else. So could you please tell us about your journey, how you were as a designer, where you started and where you are now?
Yes, of course. So I started my transportation design journey in Slovakia, in Bratislava, the capital city. I still live in Slovakia, and I started as a student in the Academy of Fine Arts and Design, and I'm still there. I'm teaching transportation design as a professor, and I'm specialized into the VR, the Gravity Sketch, digital technologies, and AI. I was after I finished my master studies, I was thinking what's the best path to take, and I was really dragged into the VR world. And I would say early 2016, 2017, I started exploring Gravity Sketch. We had one super old headset at the university, and I was all the time inside the headset exploring the software. I started with the tilt brush, if you remember that. That was a project from Google where you could sketch in the space 3D. And then I discovered Gravity Sketch, and I decided to do my whole doctoral studies about it. So I was researching it, I was teaching students, I was posting it on social media. And right after I finished my doctoral studies, I got an offer, and I accepted a position in Gravity Sketch, where I am till today. So I have two jobs. I'm a professor, and I'm also a car design consultant in Gravity Sketch. And this is perfect position for me because I can teach the students what I teach professionals, and I see the newest, latest trends what students are adopting, but I also see how professionals are working with these new technologies and if they are feasible in the professional workflows. So that's my journey.
All right, perfect. So let's start with the first thing that you have been blown up on social media. It's regarding the Gravity Sketch, the tutorials that you upload, the ideas on how to do this, how to do that, how to explore the software. So first we'll start with that. And one of the things that I was curious is, why did you thought Gravity Sketch would be a good idea to pursue in your life right now? Why did you thought that, okay, this must be something that I should start exploring?
Oh, that's a good question. So I think that the sparkle which got my interest was it was really immersive, and you can lost in the VR. And I have really problem to focus on some tasks, but when I'm in VR and I'm completely shut out of the reality, I can just hyper focus on what's in front of me. So usually it's car, or I'm modeling some project. So it was this captivation which dragged me in. And I also seen the younger generation, I would say Gen Z, they're pretty responsive and they learn it super quickly. So I was okay, this is probably the future. I mean, the headsets, the hardware, I understand. No, not everybody wants to put the toaster on the head. But as we progress, I think one day it will be just as thin as normal glasses, and it will be as normal as using a mobile phone. So, and the thing that you can design with your whole body, I think it's more human-centric, it's more human-focused, it's more ergonomical, and you're closer to your design. Because whenever I'm modeling it in Alias or Blender with the mouse and the screen, I kind of feel detached from the design, because it's also the scale and everything. It's something to a small screen. But when you are in VR, you are in media res. So you live through the design, basically. You can dance the design. You can express yourself physically with your body. So Yeah, I like the digital aspect of it. You are grabbing thing inside the VR, but you almost feel like you are grabbing it in the real world. So it's like air modeling or air sketching.
Yeah, because in the past few months, I also started to see a lot of people posting their stuff from Gravity Sketch and talking about how VR can affect the design process and everything. So yeah, it has made me more curious to see what we can do in the future, and for sure one day I'll start experimenting with it as well, hopefully sooner. But yeah, for now I think it's a good experimental thing to meddle around with and see what advantages we can pull out of it, and to see how better it can become in the future.
Yeah,
That's a great thing about it.
it's also they're the pragmatical part of it. Clay milling, hard models, everything, it's very expensive. And you maybe don't need to mill the car model, like the car proposal 13 times. Maybe you can mill it 5 times. And in between you have the VR checks, the mixed reality checks. Yes, of course, you can do it in VR, you can do it in Niwwrd, you can do it in Unreal, but Gravity Sketch is the only collaborative tool, so it's the only platform which allows you to communicate. So many people can join the VR and you can adjust geometry, you can put the digital tapes on it, and you can see how it behaves in the physical world. So, and like how the hardware is progressing, for instance, with the Quest 3, the pass-through, so the mixed reality you have inside is almost as real reality. It's like, yeah, it's still like a bit of resolution, like still it needs a bit of like color management, but you are almost there. So I think like in the future, I can imagine a lot of design reviews and engineering reviews will be done in VR. And especially in this world where we are living and you have multi design studios and they're not even based in the same continent and you need to communicate. And usually it's happening through the screen, Teams or Zoom or Skype. But I can imagine like people are meeting inside the VR and evaluating the changes, the design, the engineering stuff together in the real time.
Yeah, that's true. Because ever since COVID has hit the world, we have seen the explosion of virtual spaces and digital spaces for meetings, for conducting reviews. Even I saw one of few of my friends when they were here in Italy and they had their final thesis to present. It was all done online in a meeting, and I think if we include virtual reality in it, it would have been a much better way to review or to conduct a presentation, I think.
Yes. Yeah, it's much more immersive. You get you can influence people better. You feel more connected to them, you feel more connected to their design, to their stories, because you can explore, like play and touch. It's like virtual playground for many people. So people get captivated like much easier and you can get the attention. But you can also lose it if people start playing and like sketching on their own inside the Gravity Sketch. But from what I've seen, like if you have a good presentation room, 3D room, imagine like now we are presenting PowerPoint, slides, I don't know, mirror board, everything is 2D, slide, zoom. But you can add the depth to it inside the VR space. You can create immersive, very like experience. You can think about the design, yeah, that's the physical object. But I think as automobile design will shift interior once we have autonomous cars. It's like no longer about driving, but what do you do in the car? How the interior will change for the passengers? What will they do? What do they want? And you need to provide experience. Like how do they spend quality time inside a car while transporting somewhere to vacation, to work? And also you can think this when you are preparing the presentation. You take people on the journey. So this was maybe my original idea, more original sketch, and it evolved this, and maybe this. And here I have a video, and here's a 3D model, so you can sit inside and have the feeling of grabbing stuff in the interior, or sitting or positioning yourself. So you can get to the future user, like much closer. and you can grab their attention. And I also think social media though is evolved this way. Like think about what happened in Instagram. Everything was like flat. It was 2D images basically. 2014, 2020, let's say. And then like with the rise of TikTok, the videos started becoming like the Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, everything. So people also became video editors because Reels enabled the editor software within the Instagram. Same with TikTok. So more and more people are generating videos now. And I think like how Meta is thinking about it, it's like, even if in the new Oculus, the logo Meta, the infinite loop, is no longer 2D, it's 3D, it rotates. So imagine if Instagram or Meta will be like 3D social platform where you have your small spaces, your bubbles, and your content is there. And I think like the content will change to 3D. So we had 2D images. Now we have a lot of like static images. Now we have dynamic images, videos, and then it will be 3D. So people, like whatever, if you're a fashion influencer, people can rotate your scanned body with a garment and look, oh, do I like this fashion style or not? And then you click on the skirt and you buy it from some Meta, I don't know, Zara store. But also I think like, so, and also you see more and more people are learning 3D. So it was very specialized alias modelers. It was like super posh, almost unattainable, like layer of people, no? And now we have Blender. And the 3D softwares, also the design softwares, everything is more and more democratic in a way.
Yeah.
Can learn like anything from internet today. And more people will learn 3D, even like generic population. So that will be, I think, next step. And if you already have some 3D models, car designers and designers too, I think you will have advantage on this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Because when I started my Blender journey before I started my design school, so I had a bit of an experience. Yeah. And one of the things that I noticed on the internet was people would just export those Blender models into some kind of VR reviewing software. And they would just start, at that point, I thought maybe this is too advanced for me right now. Maybe I should get better at modeling. But now I'm starting to see that a lot of people are catching up. It has been very quick in the last 7-8 months. And since the launch of Oculus 3, I think more people will get an idea of what VR is, especially when Meta is forcing people to switch to virtual reality and augmented reality. They also launched their a whole new space. I forgot what it was called, but
Metaverse.
Yeah, something like that. So where you can get your virtual bodies and you can just conduct meetings, do any kind of social convention you want to do. Yeah. And that I think is a good beginning point to see where how people, even normal people, not even just designers, can use something like a VR headset to explore more without having to get out, or considering that how important it is to use digital space as an advantage for our own, considering the fact that if COVID happens again, we have to be just prepared. If something like that happens again, we have to make sure that the world doesn't stop. We have to keep working. So yeah, this is a good exploration where virtual reality can be a big advantage.
Yeah, and also, I agree, 100%.
So the other thing is, recently the let's say the amazing thing that I found on your profile was the fact how you merged Gravity Sketch with vizcom. And I've seen, because vizcom, I've tried myself a lot, and I've seen the results have gotten better every year. But this is for the first time I've seen anyone use Gravity Sketch in vizcom. So could you tell me how is the whole process, and what are the advantages of it, and how you started exploring it?
So, and I think I wasn't the first. I think a lot of my colleagues in Gravity Sketch were already using it. But I think there are at least 3 or 4 ways how you can integrate Gravity Sketch to vizcom workflow. So the easiest and the fastest for me is to create just a very, very simple line work. and then fill the wireframe with some filler, something, whatever, rough volume. So you cover the perspective lines, and you kind of 3D illusion of 2D sketch from the 3D file. And from this type of file, I take screenshots, and I have multiple perspective views from the same car, from the same object, and then I just put it to vizcom. And what I discovered, vizcom reads the cross sections and simple wireframe line work very good, because like this, my sketches are mostly like blueprints, which is different when you have very expressive pencil strokes or like pen strokes. It might or might not read the surfaces as well. But like I use the gravity sketch as a wireframe blueprint style, and that works beautifully. But also you can export 3D file from your gravity sketch. It can be either GLB or FBX. You can export it also from Blender, and you import the 3D file as a 3D layer to vizcom. I think I might share my window, because this might be a bit abstract. Okay, so I share my window, share my vizcom. So for instance, this was like one project, very simple line work. So I will show you the original sketches behind it. So I started with these type of sketches, and since this is like Jeep, Land Rover kind of type of car, it's very easy. I think that the surface it's very boxy. It's almost like a product. So there is not much like Italian like sports car. Lots of difficult surfaces. This is pretty pragmatic. So I think like vizcom has an easy time to read it. And like these shots were like the prompts are not difficult. They just write green SUV on the desert, high quality, rear view or something like this. So and if you what I've discovered in vizcom, try to the orthographic perspectives are much easier, like front, rear, side view. And when you have something more dramatic, like from the top, or like something like super fish eye perspective, vizcom has troubles. Make sure you write. So here, I think I forgot to write its front, and it got confused, and you see it's like front, but the rear. But and then you can also experiment with the background. Here I was like green grass or something, or desert, golf court. And also you can experiment with the different render types. So this one is the vizcom general. But also I love the Technicolor 6. This is more like greeny, conceptual way of rendering. So give it a try. I can show you my prompt. Nothing complex. Re-rendering, green minimalistic concept, SUV, glass, high quality rendering. It's just like, even with mistakes, without commas, and you will get somewhere. So, and I mainly use vizcom general and volume reader, render, and Technicolor things. Okay. You can switch between. And the drawing influence, I usually set it from 90 to 100. 85 to 95, I would say. So it's pretty powerful. I'm also exploring stable diffusion. That's great. It feels like vizcom, but you have much better control over what you want to achieve, and you have better control over the rendering quality. You can try different models. So if you're a student and you're watching us, like, go and explore it. I think it will be much needed. In a way, like, it's a question, like, will designers be coders in the future? Do we need to know simple coding? Maybe. Should you be training your own model on the stable diffusion to get, like, your unique specific art style? Yeah. So, yeah, these are the questions I'm asking. Yeah. And also you see here, this is a super low sketch in Gravity Sketch. Okay. You know, here, so you see it has perspective. So, and I was super up. I didn't even finish here. The filler inside. super lightweight sketch. Boom. Also, the prompt here was Tron Aesthetic. Tron Aesthetic is doing this nice,
like neon lines and very defined.
yeah, but also wearing like the gray with the super bright highlights. So this is the aesthetic, dramatic concept sketch cards.
Yeah.
Concept sketch cards, side view, sports control aesthetic. And also what works good is like trending on Instagram. That's a good problem. Trending on ad station. High contrast, high quality, dramatic light, soft light. Yeah. So try to also write like which kind of light you want to get out of the rendering. Oh yeah, that was one of my students. he imparted the spider. This is also Tron aesthetic.
Yeah.
Without Tron aesthetic. So you see.
It looks like it's the same model but different variation for different purposes.
Yeah, the different movie,
Yeah.
So yeah. So these are very, very loose. Yeah, very loose sketches. So this is the Technicolor 6. It reads it in more conceptual way. Yeah. See it like it creates more variation when you put the conceptual. And but I also like the volume render. It gives you something like this, and this is a great base for Photoshop.
Yeah.
You try those to get this. The light is super nice. Here you have to focus. Here is a bit of shadow, and you take this to Photoshop, spend some time, then you'll get a great result.
Yeah, for sure. Because it provides us a good base of how you can start with the light, with the shadows, with the highlights.
Yes.
No, that's a great idea.
So and like these sketches are like serious. This is like 10 minutes in Gravity Sketch. And I feel like some people, that's not my personality. Like, I really appreciate the brush strokes. I don't know, inside, like when I sketch with a pencil or with the pen, I'm more expressive. Yeah, good for you. I think like I'm so used to Gravity Sketch. It's much faster for me now to, sketch something like this.
I'm pretty sure with practice, you've become much faster at doing sketches and filling the car and everything.
Yeah. So, and this is like the most, like, you have the instant gratification. It's super fast and convenient to have multiple shots from one object, and then you can, this one was nice. I like this one. So, explore it. I would highly recommend. Spend some time. Gravity Sketch for users, it's for free. You just need the hardware. I would recommend get the Quest 3. That's, I think the most, the best headset right now for the mining. It's even better than the Quest Pro. Quest Pro has the better head structure, the head strap, so it's more comfortable. You have the gap between your eyes. But the Quest 3 has better pass-through, better rendering quality, better processor, so it can take much more data, and it's not just glitching.
Great, yeah. You had some really good work from vizcom there. It's all very defined highlights and defined shadows, as well as in the prompt you've written something like glass from rear side, so it shows a bit of the inside and also from the other side of how the light comes to the inside of the glass. So that is something that is somewhat a little harder to achieve, but that was really good progress over there.
Good.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And talking about the exploration thing, since I'm a student now, I'm in second year studying transportation design. So what could be my beginning step or the initial step to go towards this technology and start exploring it?
Exploring AI and VR technology, or?
Basically starting with VR, starting with Gravity Sketch, how can I pursue it, and know what other things I need to practice first?
So I wouldn't neglect your traditional skills like sketching, photo, and stuff. Still think that's very important. You need So get strong there. Like don't skip that phase. It will help you later. But for Gravity Sketch, I think like you have so much resources. Everything is on YouTube or on my Instagram or Gravity Sketch Instagram. We constantly post some tips, and it's not difficult to learn, especially like if you are 20 plus or like you are Gen Z, you will grab it super fast. So what we see is usually the learning curves in Gravity Sketch is like 6 hours. You need to spend 6 hours to kind of know all of the tools. That's the first phase. In Blender, that's 20 hours. I was learning Blender last year. I was like, okay, that's much deeper learning curve. But after first 6 hours, I would say you are comfortable moving yourself there. But then maybe the more challenging part is the muscle memory part. So how to get control in your hands that your line work, when you start, probably you start with the ink and stroke tool with the line work sketching.
Yeah.
How do you get the control and like the looseness you want? Yes, yeah, it's still a bit different when you have a hard surface and you're sketching on paper. And now here you don't have the pressure of some material. So it's like everything is on the air. So to get the muscle memory, I would say like maybe that's 10 additional hours, 10 to 15. And then it helps you and then you get to the flow. And then maybe you need another 5, 6, 10 hours to learn the subdi. And people get confused because there's a lot of gestures. So we are used to work hotkey.
Fingers with the keyboards and the mouse.
Yeah. And then here suddenly if you want to move object, it's like smart move and you need to do like this and this. And like this. It's almost like learning piano because you have all of these buttons on the controllers.
Yeah. And also, I think you need more muscle memory to start using your hands and rotating your face all the way.
Yeah. Yeah. That might be I feel older people adopted slower, and younger generation is you just go. I just give it to my students, and they're like, we discovered everything. I was like, good for you. Yeah, the adoption is pretty impressive. So that will be the first phase. And then I think maybe the most challenging and the most boring part for students and for professionals too, it's to export the data because nothing exists in the bubble. And also that's why Tilt Brush kind of stopped because it was amazing what you could achieve there. The brushes were but you couldn't export the 3D file and work with it in, I don't know, Blender, Alias, etc. So then you need to learn how to export the stuff to Blender, to Unreal, to Alias, I don't know, to InMotion. So you get the renderings to continue modeling. Because I can model the whole sculpture of the car, let's say in 10 minutes. That's super fast. Come on, Blender community, can you model the whole car in 10 minutes? And I'll make a post about it. But touch-ups, yes, I get it. In Blender, you have orthographics, front, side, top, rear. Get it. You finalize the lines, move it here 1 millimeter up and down. Yeah, that's great. That's for what Blender good. So, and then you need to repeat these multiple times so you don't even think about the export, import, and then you are good. Then you are the guru.
Now, in Blender, yeah, it's true. It takes a bit of time because you don't get the aspect of how big the car is. You don't see it on a physical surface. You only see it on the screen. So you have to make some assumptions on how it would look like, and then you just have to follow the process of trial and error. Render it, see what's wrong, fix it again. Do it again and again and again.
Yes.
I've been through that a lot of time in Blender. But yeah, as you said.
How many years are you using Blender?
Yeah. So the basic skills, as you said, yeah, that has to be mastered. And so far, if I get a good hand in sketching, so I can use the same form of motion in creating lines and inks in Gravity Sketch, I think. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to control of, let's say, rendering, so for that you need good surface quality, good lighting, to make sure that you get good highlights. I think Blender could be a good tool to see if you have the understanding of how the lighting works, how surfacing works, and then maybe you can switch to Gravity Sketch to have a more closer to real life control, as you can get closer to game modeling, let's say, but all digitally.
Yeah, that's also a good idea. Like to when you finalize it in Blender, you are super happy. You can bring it back to Gravity Sketch for evaluation to check the proportion, highlights, ergonomics, if everything is okay. And also like the perception, you perceive the highlights and the design differently in VR, then you perceive it differently in Blender, and of course differently in Climate. And also I think that this took me the longest to learn, like, if I do this and this in Gravity, I think it will look good in Blender, and I know how it will turn out when I am going to mill it. But this thing, I think is like you need a lot of experience to be able to tell, like, okay, this will work also in the real life. But yeah, the back and forth, it's like, okay, you would use also Niwwrd for it or Unreal to get the hyper realism, hyper materials, inflection, everything. But for the designer's workflow, it's perfect. You just check it, evaluation, again, put a digital tape, you take a stroke, and you fix maybe some curves, and now you export it, let's say to Alias, as an IG curve, as editable CV Bezier curves, because the ink and stroke tool are basically splines, so you can edit them later in Rhino or in Alias. So this is also what we see. First, we don't expect all the 3D modelers like Alias or Blender, professional modelers, using Gravity Sketch as a modeling creative tool. It's more like communication and platform for changing and reviewing, the design. So the designer is just putting the tape, the digital tape, and modeler can export the whole model to his software. So that's where we see the benefit, because to some degree, yeah. Do you have much more control in Blender? Yes. Do you have a better visualization in Unreal? Yes. But like Gravity Sketch, the position, this is something you would do before Blender and something you would do during the design reviews, during the team meetings or like collaborative efforts, when you need multiple people giving you feedback and opinions.
All right. Yeah, that sounded a good process, maybe. For example, if let's say I can model on Blender and see how the rendering works, then I can import it to Gravity Sketch to fix, let's say, some sort of how it would look in real life aspects. Then I can use that same model to showcase it on Gravity Sketch, where, let's say, my professor or my coordinator, they can also use Gravity Sketch and they can just walk around instead of looking at a computer or looking at a screen on a piece of paper. We can have a walk around with the model. They can check quality and everything. They can see how the rendering is done. And at the same time, I've seen on your Instagram that you can paste the images on the wall in the Gravity Sketch, and you can sort of make a walking presentation like how you do at a Geneva or any product exhibition or a thesis presentation. So yeah, that's a very interesting way to do it.
Yeah, because that's great, because I'm a professor and I also am responsible for collecting all of the semestral theses and all of the work students done. And before it was like, send me MP4, send me PowerPoint, send me PDF, and maybe send me the Blender model. But now, thanks God, I have like these Gravity Sketch files with the MP4, all of the JPEGs, all of the modeling data. I can later, export and 3D print or mill or whatever. And everything exists as a one cool closed presentation. And everything is light. So this is great for me when I'm collaborating with some brands and I'm like, look, this is what my students can do. I just run presentation, everything is online. It works like Google Documents or, Google slide presentation. So you just click it. I don't need to even store it on my computer. You just click through it. Here, you can put the person in VR, because that's the maybe main problem. What do we see? It's professors or chief designers or like high-level managers. They don't have time or like willingness all the time to put the headset on, which I understand. That's why you have the screen presentation app where you just click through the slides as you would click the slides in PowerPoint. So yeah, that saves me a lot of time as a manager or professor.
Yeah, so it can be used in both ways. If you have less time, you can just use it as a presentation. But if you're more curious or more interested, we can try it to the virtual reality.
Yes.
That's a good solution. I hadn't thought of it. And then, yeah, so basically we got everything beyond Gravity Sketch and AI. So one of the last things that really wondered a few days ago was when you started with Gravity Sketch, as when you were, let's say, a design or an intern or a designer or whatever. But did you ever at the time thought that maybe this wasn't maybe this could not be the way, maybe it could be something else? Did you ever had those kind of let's say obstacles in your way?
So you are asking if I
At any point you thought that maybe this is not something that would go ahead in the future? You ever thought about that sometime?
Well, I think like the main stopping point from the adoption is the hardware. But it is similar with Photoshop because I think Photoshop was established like 1986. And like if you Google the very first car designed Photoshop renderings were produced early 2000, 1999 or something like this. So you see like the software was there, and then the missing link was the hardware. And it didn't happen till Vizcom hit the industry with good intros and Cintiq, and designers are like, okay, let's do this. Like this makes sense. We'll skip from my pastels or like airbrushing and markers to the Photoshop. But you see, it was like 14 plus years to get there.
Yeah.
So, and also Blender. Blender is like 20 plus year old.
Yeah.
And it got like major update in 2017, 18, I think. Like
after I think 2.7 or 2.6, it had really good ability to model cars.
Yes. So maybe that option, like how I see it is like it's slower than I expected to be in a 2023. But I also think like Gravity Sketch is 7 years old, and the software is here, the hardware is here. Okay. And like once the hardware gets to the main general public, like when people on the streets will be wearing some glasses, VR glasses, in some nice shape and fashion. Yeah, that's like where I see the potential. So it will get some time. But also, I cannot talk about the customers. And also, I would compare US and Europe. In the US, it's always like 3 to 5 years ahead of the Europe in terms of any technology. It also always like this. They're much more like faster. The business models and they're business oriented, and the whole like innovation works faster there. So yeah, I think it will get to Europe, but yeah, it's also in Europe. I would say the security, GDPR, the way how European works is different, and like we enjoy like slower pace. Yeah, we'll get there. But
that while living in Italy, it's quite a slower life compared to what I had in India.
Yeah, can you imagine? Yeah. But also I think like the next point maybe is the text to 3D. So with the AI. Also like Midjourney and vizcom, what you said is like even half a year back like to April, the rendering wasn't that great.
No.
It's like how fast it's evolving, and there is a new tool I want to try, Luna AI, and it's text to 3D. Like you type and it generates like a chair for you, or I don't know, like house, some object. Nick Baker just posted it on his Instagram. Check it. Pretty cool. So I imagine like if you combine this with VR, like it will open some opportunities there.
Okay, great. And as a designer, how can what kind of profession will open in the future? Let's say you're good in virtual reality, if you're good in Gravity Sketch. So will there be any new kind of job market that would open up, like how it happened with 3D modeling, how it happened with Photoshop? Do you think something similar would happen?
I think it will happen. But I'm a bit worried about the AI. It will open some doors and it will close some doors. With the AI, I almost think the AI is like a junior designer who can generate a lot of ideas. And then you have a senior person who can choose, and who can like take the project and finish it to the real project. So the question is like you need to spend some years being junior to learn all of this stuff and do a lot of mistakes, because you need to, and like who will have the patience and motivation to do this? It's like, who will learn the Photoshop if you have vizcom?
Yeah, then that's a big question that is worrying.
Yeah. Like, I'll already see my students, like everybody's keeping Photoshop because they know they just can generate it. So I'm pushing them a bit, like, still keep the digital aspect. And then what I also see, like, you need to be a good in digital world. Yeah. Like my students, they are training their own stable diffusion models. Like, I think you need to know how to work with it. Okay, great. vizcom is great. It's super easy, super user-friendly. Stable diffusion, just the installation process is 2 or 3 hours. You need to install different like models. You need to go to GitHub, blah, 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 Python, everything. So you need to have the basic like IT knowledge. So I would say also invest time there. Because imagine like you just train the stable diffusion and you are posting every day. Like people will notice you if the results are good. Like you will be much faster than the Photoshop designers. And the same will happen with the 3D. You have already some integration of the ChatGPT to Blender. I think, yeah. It's a bit scary. I don't know.
Because Photoshop, it takes a bit of time to have manual control, because you have more manual control compared to AI softwares, because you have 100% of your own intelligence to generate ideas, to work on it. The thing is, AI, it's a bit of, as of right now, it's a bit of 50-50. Sometimes it can produce the results you want. Sometimes it is very far away than what you need.
Yeah.
Basically on you. So I think it will also open up an opportunity where even junior designers can say that they're very skilled in AI exploration, so they can generate proper prompts to help their own design process, to have their own design ideas and everything.
And their own style. You can influence the style of the Midjourney and Stable Diffusion. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the question. But like you need to, as you are building a skill as a designer, you are building the hard skills, but you are also building your taste.
Yeah.
And then it's questionable. Yeah, you can teach the AI your taste. Like you can influence and like pass it through the AI. Like this looks good. You can train it. So will designers be just the trainers, just the prompters? Because at some point it's boring. Just like you can generate it super fast, but I don't think like people will enjoy it for so long. It's just like you just want to code.
You might not want to get too excited and too dive into it as to forget about the fact that you're designing for mass the community outside.
Yeah.
That'd be a big challenge, let's say, for designers or for future generations like me to overcome.
And also maybe like one thing is like, will the AI start spoiling itself? By spoiling, I mean people will like it will be so saturated that it will generate the same ideas over and over again. With the ChatGPT, it already happens sometimes. Like, will this happen also with the visual AI? Because sometimes, like, I generated in Midjourney, and I was like, okay, I've seen this image on Instagram before.
Because it already uses the data that's available outside. It not generate new data. It uses everything in this mix-up. So, for example, I was talking to Scott Robertson, and he told me that once he tried to render a Rivian, which is like a very new brand in US, and he said the AI just couldn't generate it. because there was not enough data to provide how a review would look like.
Yeah.
So I think that's also a limitation of AI, the amount of input, the amount of data that we can have on it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's also lacking the brand personality. It's like lacking the designer personality, but in terms of brands, you can get very like, oh, it's a cool sports car, but it doesn't have a soul of Audi or, like doesn't have a soul of any brand. Yeah. But you can also do this. If you're a car design brand, like I think they're probably already like exploring this, you can put all of your archives, like the whole DNA of your brand in images and train the model. Yeah. So it
can generate some new ideas based on the same hierarchy.
But
that could be
designers will put the new ideas there all the time.
For sure.
Yeah. But it's like, how much do you want to mix it with the general public? And you probably want your own closed module where you just put your ideas. But yeah, if you know how to do this, if you know how to train your own model, I think you will have like much higher chance in the job market. It's not beyond high demand. But it's like what I also see, like how specialized was the sketching. Like I would say from 2000 to 2017, like you were just the god when you were doing full sketches. Like, and they would just hire you because you had a really great artistic feeling. Like the whole emotion was in the sketch. And then you had other people, design modelers, clay modelers, engineers, visualization people who would do like all the other stuff. But now I also see like it's closing, and because the tools are getting more intuitive, you need, as a student and also professional, especially in smaller companies, you need to absorb everything from sketch, model, render, animation, storytelling, presentation, marketing for Instagram.
And like, everything has to be together into one person.
Yeah. And like, you think like we always follow these tools like, oh, it will save you so much time and like you will have much more free time. It's never like this. You just do much more.
My first year was entirely like this. We were learning Photoshop, we were learning Blender, we were learning Alias, we were learning how to sketch, we were learning how to sketch with markers. We were all learning visual communication, everything, all together.
Everything.
Yeah, because a few years ago, just when I was talking to a few designers who were recommending me some colleges, they said most of the time was spent on sketching. I was like, okay, then one. It's not like here right now. I mean, second year maybe because they want us to start exploring ideas. But first year it was a mix of everything. It was including clay modeling. So, yeah, it was very hectic.
But it's good. Like, I think also we do this at my university. Like, we poor freshmen, we just expect everything from the first semester. Like, art, sketch, animation, 3D, and I'm like, and now gravity sketch room, that's a new medium. And everybody is like,
they're bombarding on students and everyone.
But then it's good for the student because they don't know where is their potential and what's their call. So it's good to teach them all of the tools. And there are people who are great generalists. Like, they can learn anything and they can master it in like 0 time. Like, I see that. But then I see specialists, like somebody is just a great blender. So that's your call. And then maybe the time is shifting. And I would also like hire design students and design students, like use Instagram and build your persona there. Like, what's your call? I am the gravity sketch girl and with a headband. So that's who are you? You need to also stand out from the crowd. And I think it's more also like show your face. Don't be scared. It's not only about the cars all the time or design all the time. Like, show your personality.
Yeah.
Like, sell yourself as the whole package.
So, how you want to be known to the designers, to the brand, the hiring company, how you want to be known as a designer, what is your style and everything. Yeah, social media could be a good tool to sort of influence the brands, committees to see what kind of thing they're into, and they can select in a more easier way whether you would fit in or not. So
because you need to fit as a person. You need to like your style of work and your communication needs to fit in the team. And also your character. I think like I'm very like bubbly and I like to talk with people. So my job is like I'm sketching and talking all the time. So that's perfect blend for me. But then like there are some nerds like introverts who are like gurus and gods in the 3D software and that the software is their baby. Then probably like just go all in and be a great modeler or great visualization guy. Yeah.
That's true, to be honest. I've seen some people on Instagram where the only thing I see is the tutorials and everything developed. I've never seen their faces or anything, but they're really good. They're amazing on it. So it has to get what kind of person they are to work with, whether they're good in teamwork, team building or not.
Yeah, and how do you discover who you are? That's important. When you're in your 20s, like, how do you know? You just need to go through so many errors. It's like maybe one thing, like, I would love to implement in the students, like, do as many mistakes. Like, don't be scared of mistakes. Like, I used to be such a perfectionist, like, nothing is good enough, like, I will not post it, like, I cannot put it in my portfolio. But just get rid of the fear and just learn it. Like, nobody was born talented or, you know, nobody, like, learned it from day zero. You just need to, like, the expert. Who is the expert? Expert is a person who made much more mistakes than you. So just embrace the failure and accept it. And then, yeah, I think it's much easier if you have this mindset.
No, I completely agree with you. Because even during my Blender journey, I made tons and tons of mistakes. The improvement that I had in the first year was still less than what I had in the last 2 months. So for me, that was completely surprising and amazing for myself. And I thought if I could implement the same ideology in other things like sketching, Photoshop, maybe it could benefit me as well. And now virtual reality, gravity sketch, AI.
Yeah.
So yeah, the sooner you start experimenting, the better you'll get faster.
Yes. Don't be afraid to try new tools. Like, just experiment. Even if it's failure, just post it. Like, yeah, this is my beautiful failure. Let's be honest. Also, I think that the social media is shifting, like, from the Kardashians and the plastic dolls to more authentic. Like, you also see, like, Gen Z is much more relaxed in the videos. Yeah. We like a millennial. Yeah, we post and, like, we try to be the perfectionist, but, like, be much more relaxed about the journey and maybe just focus on the journey more than on the final result. And then, yeah, it will lift some of your own expectation from your shoulders.
That's true. That's really true. So, yeah, I think we had a good conversation about VR, about Gravity Sketch, AI, and how we can pursue all of these things. Is there anything that you want to say to our audience and to students who listen to this podcast?
Yeah, try to learn as much you can from online. Don't just rely on your university. Don't neglect the traditional tools and don't neglect networking and, like, meeting people online, meeting people in person, and you will see how your career will bloom.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Žofia, for spending some time with me talking about all of these things. And thank you so much for agreeing to come on this podcast. I think it was a really good thing. It will help a lot of students advantage and it advance them into their journey as a designer. Thank you so much for exploring these courses and putting stuff online for everyone to get excited and interested. And yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a super nice conversation. I enjoyed so much. And yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting you again.
All right, so this has been Žofia Babčanová, and I'm signing out from season 3, episode 2 of Simply Being. Ciao.
Ciao.